Manchester United are willing to make transfers in January and make contact with a player's agent. Ruud van Nistelrooy makes a final demand to the players before he leaves. Zirkzee and Antony updates. Ruben Amorim's striker plan is revealed, and Malacia says he wouldn't do anything differently as he speaks about his long injury layoff. This plus all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news that will keep you right up to date with everything. Welcome to Man United Review. My name's Jamie. Before we get into it, please smash a like on the video and let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off Ruud van Nistelrooy. So before leaving Manchester United, Ruud van Nistelrooy demanded that all the players get behind their new manager, Ruben Amorim, in a similar way to what Fergie did when he kind of, got us all to get behind David Moyes. I like that from Ruud van Nistelrooy. I think it shows, again, a touch of class from him. The fact that there's no sour grapes, no bitterness. I do think he was well respected and well liked behind the scenes by the players. You can see that in some of the posts. I mean, so there's been some players that have posted online about, wishing Ruud van Nistelrooy all the best and thanking him for his time there that did not do the same for Erik ten Hag. So make of that as you will. But he is well respected and well thought of behind the club. And I think that's just a final touch of class from Ruud van Nistelrooy, demanding the players get behind Ruben Amorim. And I would share his kind of thoughts on that as well. I do think we need to get behind the new project now because it is going to be like a fresh start for everybody involved, for even the players. There's some updates on that as well, which I'm going to bring to you as well. So touch of class from Ruud. I like the fact that he's kind of not thrown his toys out of his pram, taking it on the chin, done a good job at United and can still be held in high regards as well. So yeah, I like that from Van Nistelrooy. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, on our new coach, Ruben Amorim is due to take Manchester United's training for the first time on Monday, by which time his visa is expected to have arrived. That came from Ben Jacobs, so that's good. At the moment, he's still doing meetings, so he's not officially allowed to take any training sessions or anything until his work visa comes through, which is expected today. But there have been loads of photos, I don't know if you've seen them online, of him having a tour at Old Trafford. There were some lucky fans that were there on their tour as well that were in the changing room that he got to meet and greet. Seems like a really nice character, was cracking a few jokes with them as well. So I was really kind of, I think he's already carrying himself really well and does look like somebody that has that kind of personality that I do think maybe the players would like. So if you've got a bit of personality plus a bit of tactical nous about you, that could carry him a long way. But again, need to wait and see what happens on the actual pitch before. But the more you kind of see, the more you read, do you know what I mean? The more excited I am about it. Just quietly excited is the way I would put it, because I need to see the proof on the kind of pitch. But we do need to back him, like Ruud says, and give him some time. Now, one of the other story coming out regarding Amorim, saying that he is set to hand Marcus Rashford a chance to impress at the number 9 in his 3-4-3 system at Manchester United. Let me know what you think in the comments about that. I kind of, I've seen Marcus Rashford play up front. I don't think it is his best position, but when we play a striker at United, and especially under Ten Hag, we always seem to misprofile them and ask them to be almost like a target man, and I don't think we've got a target man striker. I don't think it suits Højlund. I don't think he's that type of striker. Definitely not Joshua Zirkzee. He's someone, as I mentioned in one of my match reactions, I think it was, that we're asking him to be Fellaini 2.0. That is not his game. He's being totally misprofiled, in my opinion, Joshua Zirkzee. And I've got some stories on him to go through in a second. And also Marcus Rashford's not very good with his back to goal at holding up defenders and stuff. I think we've got two strikers in Højlund and Rashford, if you're going to play him there, that are better running in behind and running into the channels. And then Joshua Zirkzee is better at coming deep and being like a link-up striker. So if you are going to use Rashford up front, I just hope it is in a completely different system, because I've seen it not work before. But I do think it could work in the right kind of setup. So that would be really interesting. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And I've just mentioned in there's been a lot of noise over the last few weeks, really, regarding Joshua Zirkzee. I have been saying in previous videos, we need to give this guy a chance. It seems like a bit of a witch hunt in the media and that we need to support him. A lot of the stories that have come out are from kind of, Italian journalists and press that seem to be a bit butthurt that he came to United and didn't stay in Italy. But Graham Bailey had the following to say. So Ruben Amorim is set to give all his squad a chance to stake a claim in his plans, and that very much includes Zirkzee, who is confident he is still destined for a successful United career. A number of Italian clubs have registered an interest with Joshua Zirkzee's representatives should he be made available this January, but they've been told that as it stands, he has no plans to leave Manchester United. And he also said that Juventus have made it clear they would be interested in a loan deal, and if Zirkzee doesn't feature prominently over the next few weeks, his representatives will assess the situation, and Amorim is set to give all of the squad a chance. So I like that and again, Graham Bailey's not the most kind of credible outlet, so I would say take that with a pinch of salt. I think he's a bit more credible, though, than the Italian journalists that have been leaking all the bollocks around Joshua Zirkzee. And again, I think the British media, they love kicking a United player while they're down as well. So we do need to take some of those stories with a bit of a pinch of salt. And again, he's a young lad coming from Italy. Yes, is he in the best of form at the moment? No, but he's had good moments. He's had a couple of good games for United. It's not like he's been a complete flop so far. And I do just think we need to kind of give him a chance. And what I do like about that report, though, is the fact that Graham Bailey was saying about, Amorim's going to give all the squad a chance. And I've said that before in previous videos. I do think that there might be some players that we've written off that might actually do well in a different setup and a different system. So we're going to need to wait and see. And I think Zirkzee is one that has been misprofiled so far, because we've asked him a lot of times when he's played to become Marouane Fellaini 2.0, and we've just hoofed long balls to him. It's not his game, not his style of play. I think if you get him in the right positions and play him correctly to his strengths, I think he's a really good talent. So I'm not writing off Zirkzee just yet. I think at least we should be like the bare minimum a season. Like, he's only been here, 4 months? Ridiculous. Ridiculous to judge a player like that, especially when we've got players in our squad that have been here for a number of years that have been worse than him. Do you know what I mean? I just think it's a bit of a witch hunt. So personally, I'm glad that he's going to give everyone a clean slate, and it'd be interesting to see how Amorim profiles Zirkzee to see if he can get him on the pitch in the right position. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And let's move on to some transfer news. So another player we've been heavily linked with is Nypan. So Manchester United are confident about signing Sverre Nypan. Rosenborg has told him to begin choosing his next club once their season finishes in early December. And then obviously we had reports yesterday from a Norwegian outlet. I don't know the credibility, or Norwegian journalist, so I don't know the credibility, but was reposted by a lot more credible outlets. I'm going to assume fairly decent, saying that Nypan plans to visit major Premier League clubs in December for talks. Manchester United are one of them. United are serious candidates to strike a deal in January. Rosenborg value Nypan at well over 10 million euros. And then the Muppeteers, who is way more credible than the previous two, has said that if young players like Franco Mastantuono, Nypan and Chris Rigg become available in January and they can get those deals done, United will be willing to make transfers. So what the Muppeteers was basically saying is that United still want to carry on being quite aggressive in the transfer market, that if there are players that are available that they want, they're happy to go for them, obviously depending on the funds, because we do obviously have PSR restrictions. But again, whether that would be, we need to get Nypan, if it means removing Eriksson, for example, getting his wages off the wage book, because that's how the PSR works. It's like sometimes removing someone's wage can then free up some funds for you to go and buy a player as well. That's not beyond the realms of impossible. So it just looks like, but the three kind of players there, Nypan, Mastantuono, and Chris Rigg, are the kind of three names, young midfield names that we've been heavily linked with. I don't know whether we're going to go, I don't think we're going to go for all three, that's for sure. I don't know whether we would just get one of the three, maybe two, who knows. But out of the three, Nypan would be, I think, the cheapest, going off of recent reports, then Mastantuono, and then Chris Rigg would probably be the most expensive because he's English and plays in the Championship. Sunderland would want a lot of money for him. But they're the three kind of names for the midfield position when we're looking at young, 17, 18-year-old midfielders. But yeah, really interesting, especially with Nypan. Nypan's one we've been linked with for a while. Now, on Mastantuono, Manchester United have been in contact with Franco Mastantuono's representatives. That came from Argentinian journalist I don't know the credibility, but was reposted by a credible outlet. So I'm going to assume fairly decent sources, kind of linking us with or suggesting that United have made contact with Mastantuano's agents. That would be an interesting one to keep an eye on, but I would want to wait and see a bit more credibility before I get excited about that one, being completely truthful with you. And then the final story I've got for you regarding transfers is regarding Antony. So Antony's agent, Junior Pedroso, says the player has no intentions of leaving Manchester United. That came from, again, the Brazilian outlet via Sport Witness. There's been a lot of talk, obviously, about Antony potentially leaving as early as January. I still think that United would want to remove Antony. I don't think they rate him. Maybe that would be on a loan to possibly see if he can go away and find some form to increase the value in the summer. But of course, Anthony's not going to want to leave because he's on £200,000 a week, according to reports. And no other club in Europe, I don't think, is going to pay him. In fact, no other team in the world, I don't think, would pay him that sort of money. Maybe Saudi Pro League teams, but again, there's no kind of interest there. There's no talk that Antony would go. But going back to what I mentioned at the start of the video, everyone's getting a clean slate now. That would include Antony for me. So because who knows, maybe Ruben Amorim could find a position in the team for him. I've heard a lot of people talking about potentially him playing at left wing back. Who knows? I don't think, people have said about him playing possibly at left back. I don't think Antony can play as a left back, because a left back is not just about bombing forward and putting balls into the box. Do you know what I mean? Can he play an offside trap? Can he defend the back post? Can he kind of cover it centre half when your centre half's out of position? I don't think Antony can do any of those things. So playing him at left back for me would be a disaster, just because he's left-footed, because he doesn't have those attributes. Yes, he's a worker. He can make tackles and he can get up and down the pitch. So yes, in terms of that, he would be good, but I don't think he can do any of the other fundamentals that a left fullback could do. But as a wing back, when you're not being asked to maybe do that, and you are being asked to be maybe a little bit more attacking and just a little bit more kind of up and down the pitch, weirdly, I could make a case for it. But again, we'll need to wait and see what kind of happens regarding that. But Antony, no plans to leave, but whether that's true or not, it's not come from the most credible source, being honest with you. The more credible ones have been saying that they would look to maybe loan him out in January with a view to selling him in the summer. So I do think there would still be an appetite to remove Antony, but everyone's getting a clean slate at the moment. So we'll wait and see what happens regarding that. And then the following is regarding to injury updates. So Lionel Scaloni on Lisandro Martinez said, "We didn't expect the case of Lisandro. We saw he had suffered a blow to his back, but apparently he had no problem, just pain. When he arrived here, the pain increased a bit. He underwent tests and he's not fit to be here. So hopefully that's nothing too serious." And Martinez the suggestions there that he's got like a back injury, hopefully just a bit of rest and he'll be okay with that, and it's nothing too serious. But that explains why he flew all the way to Argentina, just to fly all the way back again, because he had some back pain. Apparently it wasn't too bad until he landed and got there, and then, the pain got worse, so he flew back. So hopefully it's nothing too serious with Martinez. And then Tyrell Malacia has done an interview with The Athletic where he had the following to say regarding his rehab length. He said, "I think at the end of the day, everything I did, even if it was a mistake or something, I wouldn't even see it as a mistake because it's a lesson. I think everything in life is already written for me. I had to go through this whole process to be where I am at now, so I wouldn't do anything different." Apparently Malacia had a knee problem, and I don't know if this report is true, but then he had some surgery done in Holland that went wrong, and he had to have that surgery done again. That's why he was out for such a long period of time. And according to himself, he said he wouldn't really change it. It's just a lesson in life. But it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? It's just unlucky and unfortunate, that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I'm sure he would have picked a top surgeon, but if it went wrong, it's just one of those, isn't it? But good to see him back on the pitch. Long road to come back, though, fully, I think, to play for the first team. But it's the first step. 45 minutes for the under-21s. Let's see how he gets on. The thing with Malacia, though, it's nice to have him back, and I'm really pleased for him himself as well for being out of that length of time. But but he's not. I wouldn't say he's a first choice left back anyway. He's more of a backup, but it's still nice to have options there. Do you know what I mean? It is really still nice because, like, I'd rather play Malacia at left back than Thin Air, because our options were Thin Air or Malacia. I know we've been playing Dallo and Mazraoui there, but I prefer them on the right. Do you know what I mean? So it is nice to kind of have him back. Gives us a few more options. But let me know what you think about that in the comments, and let me know what you think about all the other topics discussed in today's video, because that is you all up to date with the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Don't forget to smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. See you in the next one.